Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Happy Monday to you. Thanks for being a part of the program. Thanks for being a sports fan out there, everybody. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. You can, of course, join us online at the streaming situation at our KSL Sports YouTube page. You can also go to KSLSports.com and watch it there. You can listen to us all day long. You can also download the podcast wherever podcasts are found. Happy Monday. It was a tough week for the sports here in the state of Utah. Now, Utah State got the big W, though.
They did.
Was it 41-0 at the half?
Oh, my gosh. I lost track. They scored so many points.
It was 41-0 at the half.
It was a pretty impressive performance.
What I liked was...
Obviously, the team they were playing is a little down right now.
Wolfpack are struggling.
Nevada might be the worst team in all of FBS football.
Oh, well, UMass has something to say about that.
Well, seriously. But what Utah State did to them was pretty impressive.
So,
for sure.
They held it down. The rest of the state... Your Utah Jazz,
Ugh.
your Utah Mammoth,
Ugh.
double yuck.
Ugh.
BYU,
Ugh.
having it handed to them down in Lubbock.
The defense was good, at least, I thought.
For a minute.
We'll get into that.
Let's jump in, though. We got lots to talk about. I will say, though, our producer, Alex Napolis, and myself, we're on a collision course in this NFC West, my guy. Look at us. Look at us. Look at our teams.
Look at you guys. Look at you guys.
Look at our teams scoring in the 40s.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Oh, what? Do you feel confident suddenly?
Oh, yeah, man. Did you not see Matthew Stafford play last night?
I did. What's wild
see
about
Tom Brady saying, hey, you look good, man. You could play for another 7 years.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, you could play for a team down in Las Vegas. In fact, this is an official offer. This official offer is a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. I want to extend an invitation. This isn't tampering. This is just an offer. This is not tampering. We need you. But yes, there's a lot going on in the world of sports. We got lots to jump into. We've got tons to break down. And, man, it's getting dicey, JJ. This was happening last year. But now you add Utah into the mix of a Big 12 race that has gotten extremely crazy. Now with BYU taking that loss at Texas Tech this weekend, and not just taking a loss, not just taking an L, it's a capital L. It was not good for the Cougs. They looked very, very pedestrian down in Lubbock. Let's kick things off there with the cut right here, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Impressions right off the bat, JJ. We make a point not to dive too far into this thing in our show prep because I like to get the fresh breakdown of what you saw in this game. I like to get the fresh breakdown of how this thing went for you. This was one of those games, and this happens periodically in the game of football, and exceptional coaches and really, really good teams are able to force this onto teams. Some teams do it a little bit to themselves. Some teams are just a victim of maybe some of the circumstance. I think all of it came into one place for BYU. Texas Tech was exceptional this weekend. They showed up to play hard. They showed up mentally. They showed up on both sides of the football, all three phases of the football. They were really, really good. And they weathered little miniature storms they had to get through. They controlled the ball. They controlled the tempo. They made sure that all the decisions that they made were the things that they wanted to see happen in the football game. And BYU didn't have the bounce that they've had on the ball before. They didn't have the execution like that they've had before. They had no idea how to come back on a team that was prepared as this Texas Tech team was. And when you have an extra 7 days on top of the other 7 days that you had, when you had almost 2 weeks to prep for this team, it becomes an extra bit of embarrassing. And so I think that BYU got shown that there is a lot that they need to have happen still growing up wise. But the thing that stood out to me the most was how little BYU was able to do on the offensive side of the football. And that includes even just being able to possess the ball. Not just the turnovers, but also just having the ball for more than 90 seconds at a time.
You say that. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
BYU won the time of possession battle.
Just because Texas Tech
by
just kept scoring and giving it back.
seconds.
Listen.
Which, you're right. It felt like Texas Tech just dominated the whole game and had the ball the whole time. It's not true. BYU won time of possession. So it's crazy that that's how the perception was.
It felt like that, right? Like every set of downs felt like...
That tells you how dominant that defense was for Texas Tech.
They were clunky. They looked really, really ragged around the offensive line part of the game. LJ Martin's health, say what you will about it. I have no idea where it sits currently. He did not look like the 100% guy, although that first carry goes for 12 yards and everyone went, hold on a minute. But when you see the pressure that D-line is able to put on a quarterback, and they didn't have the sack numbers that BYU did, certainly, but I would say that the things that they did, the stuff that David Bailey was able to do, the level of play that guy exerts, man, that guy is something else. And BYU's defense kept them in this thing for a minute. But when you have no ability to be able to answer or even move the ball down the field that much, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have lots of problems. And Bear found out in a hurry, and I think the most freshman thing that we've seen him all year was in that moment in the fourth quarter when he tried to have that desperation semi-throw, actual fumble, backward throw fumble thing that he had at the end of the game, right? That looked sloppy, that looked nothing like the guy who was taking care of the football before. And I think it was a guy who found himself in a spot that he had never found himself all year, which was so far behind that there was no way to throw out of it, especially when the coverage was excellent, when balls are getting dropped, when all those things are happening on top of it. So that is one that you flush as a BYU football player, as a staff member, until a later date, by the way. You save it. You bag it up.
Yeah.
Okay? Bag up the thing that you flush so that you can come back and examine it later and go, that was terrible. Here's what...
Did you just say...
You don't like that metaphor?
That metaphor...
You don't like that metaphor?
I can't move on. I can't just move on past the metaphor.
Call your doctor.
What?
Call your doctor. All right.
Bag up what you're going to flush and save it for later?
Just to be able to re-examine the real
Why would you examine that? I can't move on past your metaphor.
You're going to the doctor, and they need a sample.
Is this like a colon exam? What are we talking about
It
here?
is. That's how deep this thing's going, man.
Do you have to put something in a box and send it to Wisconsin?
Yes.
Oh,
that'll
boy.
happen later.
Oh.
So that's what I want from this team.
So that's what BYU's game is.
There is some version. Yeah, there is some version. This segment
Put it
of
in
the
a
show
box
brought
and
to you
send
by.
it to Wisconsin.
This is a week though now that you are so glad that you have a team to prepare for right now, right?
Oh man,
that you have Texas Tech to be able to put up in front of you on the screen and just say, there's no reason to sit here and wallow in what just happened last weekend. The only thing you can do is go forward and beat the teams in front of you now. In fact, if you have any ability to be able to get to a spot for a rematch against this team.
And they probably will.
And they hopefully can. You say they probably will, but what is it that you've seen in Texas or in TCU that you feel like that suddenly they couldn't just turn it around? The talent's there. They're coming to Provo, yeah. But a late night Saturday game, how is BYU going to respond this year to their first loss? Because last year, they responded with a second loss. And I know it was against an Arizona State team. Then they have to go on the road to a Cincinnati that is still
very alive,
sort of in control of their destiny. And then they have to come home and play UCF on a weekend that's full of distractions. Everybody talking about here's where you should and shouldn't be in the college football playoff. While the team is just quietly preparing to play you at your house. I get UCF is not.
If we get to UCF and BYU's lost 2 in a row, then we're not even talking about the Pop-Tarts Bowl at that point.
Oh, no. It's a what's below? No, the Alamo Bowl. No, Pop-Tarts Bowl. I still think it would be right there. They'd be right there in the thick of the hot.
If they got 3 losses, they're in the middle of the pack, depending on how things shake out in the end. Because if they're losing to Cincinnati,
you're talking Armed Forces Bowl.
If they're losing to Cincinnati, the Bearcats might get to the Big 12 championship game.
Crazy. So
they have 1 loss. Remember, don't forget about Cincinnati.
They are definitely, with BYU being where they're at, and with the things that have kind of happened with this one, I do love the awareness of Joey McGuire. And kudos to that Texas Tech team who showed up on Saturday. Everybody in that stadium was on the same page. The team, the fans, everything. And the band, it was all on the same page. And it was that they were going to be X amount better than the team that was in there. They were going to be this much better. Joey McGuire, who has turned a massive corner there at Texas Tech, obviously, with the help of boosters and with the help of being, I think, the type of coach we've seen out of him before, but he just hasn't had the talent there all the time. He brought this up after the game, and it was good self-awareness because you're not just fighting for yourself to get recognition. This is a conference that needs to grow up. And the way that you grow up is you put your elbows out and you say, we should be on this stage with everybody else. Here's what Joey McGuire said after the game about facing BYU and kind of about what going forward in the college football playoff looks like for this conference.
I have so much respect for BYU. I do, man. They're I was really excited whenever they joined the Big 12 because I think that they carry a lot of weight and a lot of respect. I think that I have a lot of respect for them entering a conference and not playing an independent schedule like other people. Y'all already know who that is. And so I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, they're earning their right just like everybody but a couple of people in the nation are earning their right through conference play, and playing in some really tough places.
I love the idea of, hey, by the way, when it comes down to it, because it only helps him too. If BYU's resume gets neglected or it gets shot down by the committee, where they go, yeah, but then they lost that game against Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a top 5 team in this country. I don't think anybody who watched that game on Saturday looks and thinks, oh, well, they beat a team that's BYU that's not very good. That's not what we're looking at. Think of the teams that they've beaten on the way there. Yeah, you lose to an Arizona State team who, by the way, that was the death throes of the conference champion who still had their quarterback, and we're playing with and Texas Tech's playing with a backup quarterback. And Bear Morton's limping around out there, and they still won that football game. Like, when they went in at the half and Bear Morton was limping, there was that part of you that went, okay, hold on a minute. What's he going to do in the second half? I'll tell you what he did while limping around, and he still did at the end of the game. They won that dang football game, and he was exceptional in the second half. And he really just took care of business with that ball. So the reason I like what Joey McGuire said is at some point it's going to come up. What has Utah done? What has BYU done? You see that there's going to be a conference champion, and probably it's going to be Texas Tech. But what about the other teams who lost to a number 5 Texas Tech team, just supposing they'll be right there? Then what does the conference look like? You cannot be, on a year that the ACC looks like absolute trash, and they are.
And Notre Dame's schedule is flawed.
You cannot afford to be just a one-bid league. 2, I think, is the minimum. I think you can make a case, and Utah fans know this too because we've watched this Utah team. If they continue to absolutely beat the crud out of these teams that they have in front of them, why wouldn't the team that started 13 in the rankings and is just going to keep moving up, why wouldn't that team be good enough as a 2-loss team coming out of the Big 12, whose 2 losses might be to a single-digit ranked Texas Tech team and a single-digit ranked BYU team? Why wouldn't they be in that conversation? And you don't think Utah could show up and beat Oregon? You don't think that that's the case? Oregon could have played, or Utah could play Oregon better than Iowa did this last weekend.
No question.
I'm convinced.
No question.
And are all these other teams gettable? Indiana is not perfect. Texas A&M, they only know how to lose big games. At some point, that'll come up. I'm telling you, there's no reason. Why not talk about 3 teams in the Big 12? Why not? Is that an insane thing for me to say?
As long as they all win out from here on out, then they should absolutely all 3 be considered.
They should absolutely be looked at. Which last year, I don't even think BYU got looked at last year, to be honest. I don't even think they were considered.
The committee couldn't wait to look away.
And I think games like this last weekend.
BYU let them off the hook.
Right, and I think games like last weekend, that also kind of gives them an opportunity to go, good, we don't have to think about those guys for a minute.
This isn't as easy as last year, though. They lost to the number 8 team in the country in their building.
Right.
They did not lose to Kansas at home. There's a difference.
Kalani Sitake talking about this team after the game. He's in a weird spot right now. He doesn't do this very often. BYU is 21-3 now over the past 24 games. They're used to winning more than they are losing over the past 2.5 seasons. Here's what Kalani said about this team, the physicality that they have, and what they look like against this Texas Tech team that was an absolute buzzsaw of a team to face.
Proud of how hard the guys played. Obviously didn't do enough to put ourselves in a position to gain a victory, but I appreciate the effort and the willingness to be physical. Way too many mistakes for us to be in a position to come back in that game and to put ourselves in a position to have a right to earn the victory.
Where do you put this loss, JJ? Like, what if you're to point to, and I know they'll say it's a team loss, but if you're to look at it and say this was the biggest thing that was lacking in this game, where is it going to be?
I've got some ideas. Let me first say that watching Texas Tech BYU felt like watching Texas Tech Utah. Felt like I was watching the same game. And the same problems occurred, which I think you have to give Texas Tech credit for that. Texas Tech is a really good football team. Agree with you. Texas Tech is not just a top 10 team. If they win out and they win the Big 12 championship, they deserve one of the top 4 spots in the college football playoff.
And they'll get it.
They should get a bye.
They'll get it. They'll absolutely
This is a very good football team. And when you look back at that Arizona State loss, they were missing Baron Morton. They were banged up. And there were a lot of factors that went into that. I'm not making excuses for that. Arizona State
but
beat
they
them,
were
and
same thing.
it.
They were on the road. And again, like I said, that's an ASU team that's very different.
How many Big Ten and SEC teams get the mulligan? Does Alabama get the mulligan for Florida State? Yes, they do. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't Texas Tech get the same mulligan? So Texas
Notre Dame
Tech
gets 2 mulligans.
Exactly.
Right.
Just like they did last year.
Right.
Look, Texas Tech's a great team. Let me start with that. And they are the reason why this happened. But there are 3 things that stick out to me about why BYU lost this football game. Number 1, third down efficiency. 3 of 14 on third down is not going to get it done. They did not execute in those moments when they needed to get those third down conversions. We, in our football group, we text back and forth, and Sly made this point, and I want to bring it up because he's right. This is the first time all year that it looked like Bear was feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
His decisions weren't great. He got happy feet in the pocket. And look, when you're playing certain teams, your confidence can build up. When you're playing a team like Texas Tech,
it just gets
knocked
down.
Feel different. It feels different.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Look, just ask Utah. They haven't had to play a team other than BYU that felt like Texas Tech did. And it felt different. And they've actually seen their confidence rise after that game because things have not been as hard as they were in that first conference opener. Texas Tech's really good. So third down conversion was a problem. Bear did not look as comfortable. 1 of 3 on fourth downs. You go for it on fourth down 3 times and you only get 1 of them. Those are 2 drives that ended where you turn the ball over on downs. This is just the same as a turnover. Okay? So then I go to another thing that's a marker of success. Running the football. Remember 2 years ago, why did BYU struggle their first year in the Big 12? They could not run the football. Remember how many times they didn't get to 100 yards in a game? That was a problem. That wasn't a problem last year and had not been a problem up until this point. But only 67 yards rushing against that Texas Tech defensive front. Utah had a similar problem. You know they've got the dudes. You know they have the offensive line. But offensive line meet brick wall. Texas Tech's front is really good.
Yep.
And BYU's front struggled against their front, and they could not get the running game going. And L.J. Martin not being 100%, not running in between the tackles as many times as he'd like to, was obviously an issue. And this one's obvious. Turnovers. BYU turned the ball over 3 times, Texas Tech 0.
Yep.
Okay? It's really not any more complicated than that. The defense, I thought, was really good. They got to Baron Morton, 4 times in that game?
Yeah.
They were able to provide pressure.
Half,
How many times did they hold Texas Tech to a field goal? How many short fields did that defense have to defend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You have to play efficient ball against Texas Tech. You've got to be able to convert some third downs, at least 3 or 4 more. You can't have the ball turnover on downs added to the 3 turnovers. That's 5 drives that ended without any points where you should have got something out of it, and they didn't. So it's really that simple. BYU can go back and look at what happened in those 3 areas and fix them. And they've already seen Texas Tech, and if they get another shot in the Big 12 championship game, they'll be able to address those things. Doesn't mean they're going to beat them, but they'll probably have a chance to do much better. If Utah somehow, some way, ends up playing Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game, they'll have a better idea of how to attack them. But Texas Tech is a juggernaut, and BYU learned firsthand. BYU does not need to lose confidence from this game. And I will judge BYU not on the way they performed in this game, but how they would perform against TCU.
Yeah, the bounce back is
You're
so huge.
right.
The bounce back
they
is
can't
huge.
have another situation like they did last year. they're too good of a team, and we've seen too much good from this BYU team to let this game send their season in the other direction. That's the big test this time around. Don't let what happened last year happen again this year, where it snowballs.
I don't think that it means like that. Do you look at it and go, well, BYU got exposed? There's some stuff in there that you didn't know. I don't look at it.
Exposed isn't the word.
I think whatever their weaknesses are,
They got beat.
No, for
good.
sure. And their weaknesses have been their weaknesses, I think, the whole time, and they've been able to make sure that they were able to out-execute what these other teams were doing.
They've taken care of the football all year.
Yes.
They've been able to run the football all year.
Okay, think about it. They had
third down conversion rate is good.
They had 6 giveaways going into this game all year long.
Right.
And then they ended.
And 3 in one game?
They had
on the road?
They had 40% to their yearly
in the
total.
morning? It was a bad mix. There's no doubt about it.
So I think that the stuff that BYU has to worry about is the stuff that they've had to worry about all year. Can your run game get going? Can your freshman quarterback stay free of mistakes? Can your offensive line get a push? And those things didn't happen. And that was why. And like I said, I have no idea what the level of health is of LJ Martin and where he was. He obviously, I don't know. You can say, well, he didn't look like himself. It's like, well, they just didn't hand the. I don't know. It was clunky. Everything felt out of sync. And the times that BYU has been able to outplay call people, they didn't do it. A-Rod.
Or they didn't execute it.
A-Rod called the game that he called, and it looked weak. And it looked like it was a struggle.
A lot of people have looked weak against Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey. Those are all-American dudes. Are you not impressed with Jacob Rodriguez? We've seen him against Utah, seen him against BYU. That is an all-American. David Bailey, that is an all-American. Yeah. That defensive front for Texas Tech is the best that money can buy in college football. Money well spent.
Here's Kalani after this one about using the loss as motivation going forward here with this team.
I've said it before, to stay humble and stay hungry. Unfortunately, when you experience a loss like this, it makes it easier to be humble and hungry. And so we'll bank on that, and then we'll also bank on the opportunity that we can still learn from it, and we can still play better football. I just did feel like we played our best, and that was the worst timing. So that's my job as a head coach, to get these guys better, playing at their best, try to get that done this week.
No better way to stay hungry than not eat very well. Like, that's the thing, is all year long they go, oh, man, we got to stay humble and stay hungry. And it's like, yeah, but you're well fed right now, and it's hard to be humbled when you won 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
So it is. It's a good opportunity to see how the team's going to respond to this thing. There's enough people on this team, JJ, that weren't just a part of the team last year that watched that second loss sink their entire hopes and dreams of a crazy dream season. There's enough guys that are on that 2023 team who are like, man, we sucked back then. And that was only 2 years ago. Look how far we've come. We've made these adjustments. There is no way that we are going to forget where we came from with this.
And Chase Roberts is one of those
He's
guys.
one of those guys. And I was going to bring up Chase because when they showed him after the game, you saw a guy whose face was, I can't believe we weren't ready. Like, I thought we were ready. And that was the idea that I think a lot of fans certainly had this thought, but I think a lot of the guys on the team had that thought, that they got there and they were just not, they weren't even close to the level of preparation they needed to be. I think from a mental standpoint too, that Texas Tech team was. So crazy game on Saturday.
Chase Roberts guaranteed if they play again, they're going to win.
That's so hard to do.
I love it.
I don't.
I love it.
But I'm also not on the team, so there you go. Good for them.
You got to have that
cockiness.
kind of confidence. If you're going to beat Texas Tech, you have to have that kind of confidence.
Why not? All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. What is this, just beating ourselves up over the whole weekend at Utah sports? Next, we're going to talk about being humbled this weekend, where the Utah Mammoth. We'll talk about that and much more. This portion of the show is always brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth, for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Got a big week in front of us. We've got all the teams. No more bye weeks, right? No more bye weeks, please.
No more.
Please.
3 straight weeks through Thanksgiving.
Thank heavens.
We are in the stretch run.
We get actual football. Let's talk more when we come back here. We'll get to the Utah Mammoth next, right here at 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Clayton Keller flies in, shoots on a sharp angle, and scores! Clayton Keller says, I'll do it myself. Below the goal line, otherwise Cousins would have had a breakaway. Wraparound attempt, and they score! Ottawa gets the leaky one, and it's 3-1. Right now it's Nick Schmaltz gliding in. Schmaltz to the front, scores! A highlight reel goal for Nick Schmaltz. Puck tipped on goal, and they score. Make it 8 of their last 9 for this line. And Michael Amadio has goals in 4 straight.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Guess what we have coming up on Wednesday for our Win Ticket Wednesday? Gonna get yourself some tickets to the Holiday Lights at the ballpark at America First Square. It's a brand new immersive holiday tradition opening up on November 14th. You can reserve those tickets at the ballpark at afs.com or just listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day long on Wednesday. We've got tickets for you and your family. Don't want to miss it. We're all excited to see what this thing's going to be all about. And I think we're actually going to be broadcasting from out there at some point during the holiday season here, JJ. So this should be nice. Look, I'm open to, this is always hard as a parent. You got to figure out stuff to do for the kids during the holidays.
Yeah.
Creating new traditions. Sometimes it's hard to do because you just go, well.
I'm bored. I want to do something.
We have
I'm bored, Mom.
Yes.
I'm bored. I want to do something.
Well, it is.
Can we go somewhere?
It is gingerbread cookie making night. And it's like, oh.
Gross.
All right. Nobody likes that. Go check it out. So listen to us all day long. We'll be there. Hey, the Utah Mammoth, speaking of being humbled and hungry, I hope they have felt humbled because I think watching these games, the Mammoth, don't look now, are toward the bottom of the division that they were very much on top of less than 10 days ago. And they have now lost 5 out of their last 6 games. A overtime win against Buffalo is the only thing that has kept them off of a 6-game losing streak, basically, JJ. This team has now gone from being one of those that everybody was saying, hey, throw some respect Utah's way to, okay, what are they going to do to be able to get back to the spot that they were early in the season? It's not a good look because they've been scoring early, just like they've been doing in a lot of these other games. But they were putting the foot down in these other games, and they've been facing off against some of the competition that was not able to come back. And now some of these teams are starting to find their lines, starting to find that gel a little bit with their teams. And you cannot afford to mess up at places like Toronto. And then the very next night to mess up again at Montreal. Or how about at Ottawa? Edmonton was also another place where it seemed like they keep it close for a minute, and then just a mountain of goals scored by the opposing team.
5 in a row in Edmonton.
4 in a row, I think, against Montreal.
Yeah.
They're giving up a lot of goals in quick succession. It also happens too, JJ, and my kids will point this out too. They go, why is it that every time the Mammoth score and get some advantage, they immediately give up another goal? Like right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know that the other team starts to come right at you. They reset their lines. They're back to their first or second line as soon as they come out of a break like that, out of a goal score. And, yeah, you've got one of your better teams on the ice as well, but they haven't been able to convert on penalty on the power plays. And they're even they just look all sorts of out of sorts. And so they've lost a lot of bad games recently. And I say bad because they're getting blown out. They score early and then they end up getting blown out, and they're not in any of these contests by the end of it.
Yeah, they've lost 5 of their last 6, and in those 5 losses, these are the goals they've given up. 6 in Edmonton, 4 against Tampa here at home. At home, giving up Tampa 4 goals. 5 in Toronto, 6 in Montreal, 4 in Ottawa. You're not going to win a lot of games giving up that many goals. Nope. Even in the losses they had earlier in the year, they only gave up 3 to the Blackhawks, and 1 was an empty netter, 2 to the Avalanche. This team is starting to struggle defensively. They're struggling in between the pipes. And they're having flashes offensively, but they're not getting enough from their top players right now. And it's a bad combination, and it's led to this slide. And you can't afford these kind of slides in the NHL because before this stretch happened, they were right there. I think they were second in the Western Conference
Yep.
for points. Guess where they're at now? If the playoffs started today,
Oh boy,
this is today's edition.
this is when the game
if
doesn't.
the Stanley Cup
This
playoffs
is when the
started
game
today.
isn't very fun to play. Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, they're clinging to the last wild card spot, tied with the Kings at 18 points. So this is what happens when you go on a losing streak in the NHL. You pay a price, and right now this team has paid a price. Now the good thing is we've seen them, this same group, be able to win a bunch of games in a row, and hopefully they can flip things around and turn things around. But right now their power play is not good, and their defense is not good, and that is a bad combination. It doesn't lead to winning games. They're giving up too many goals, and I know that's a little simple thing to say, but you can't give up that many goals, especially on the road, and expect to win games.
So they aren't looking particularly sharp. They've had a bad go. The swing through Canada was not fruitful, and it's just one of those things too where you go, okay, so then what do you do to reset? And in the NHL, just getting home sometimes isn't enough. You got to do a little bit more than that. And I think that losing to Ottawa last night was another. Well, one, the team looked extra tired, and this has been a long trip. I get it. You go through the entirety of Canada, and you got to play some of the best teams in the entire league, and they have some of the best players across the entire league. The Utah Mammoth are still new to this, being winning a lot of games right off the bat and going at it, and everybody's trying to put them in a spot to where they're supposed to be a little bit ahead of where.
I keep referencing this, but Bill came on our show, Bill Armstrong, right before the season started, and says we're not a top 10 team yet. He was right.
Yeah, right now they're not.
And we're seeing that where there's this nice stretch of play. How do you follow it up? Well, you lose 5 of 6. That's the next step for this team. If they want to be a top 10 team in the league, like they looked like at the start of the year, there has to be more consistency, and consistency is a big issue for this team right now.
So now what does it look like the rest of the way? Well, they come back home. They take on the Sabres on Wednesday. That's a winnable game. They host the Islanders on Friday. They go to Anaheim to take on the Ducks, and then they go to the Sharks. Those are also winnable games.
All 4 have to be wins.
Then they host a big one on November 20th. That's when the Golden Knights come to town for the first time this year. There's a double dip where they're going to go Golden Knights, then they host the Rangers 2 nights later, and then they host the Golden Knights again at Delta Center 2 nights after that. So you've got a stretch here where you've got a chance to steal a few wins in there. In fact, there are going to be some games in there that you're going to look at. If they're on the calendar later and you go, remember when they lost to the Ducks and the Sharks and the Golden Knights 3 in a row? That is an awful time of the year.
Right before they went on a 6-game road trip?
Right.
Because that's coming.
That's exactly what happens in December. They're going to have to hit the road for a long time. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that one. Love to see how the team does when they come back home to the friendly confines of Delta Center. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Before we do, I want to let you know when we return, we've got ourselves a couple things going on. All right. We've got our Weekend Warriors. We do have later in the program, you're going to have your Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers play of the weekend, of course. If you heard it on DJ and PK, we'll be able to get you a W. We've got a Sucks to Be You. We've got people who it's awesome to be, the Weekend Warriors, coming up next. So stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Complete game coverage of the Cougars is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. The Cougars return home for a battle against TCU. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You're locked on to JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. This is the classic rock song you're going with today?
It's not a bad choice.
Of all days? I'm hoping we give our proper due to the history.
Look at him not trusting you.
Why would I?
It's 3:53
this
in the afternoon.
This is a guy who wants to do whatever he wants.
We got 3 more hours of radio.
Willy-nilly will just be like, I've never heard of that song. I'm not playing it. Poo-poo your song, Kirry. Get out of here. Hey, by the way, speaking of poo-poo.
They so poo-poo.
Penn State and Michigan State are facing off this next weekend. You know what's at stake here?
No thanks.
The land-grant trophy.
There's a Penn State Michigan State trophy?
It's the land-grant colleges trophy.
Come on.
First played for against one another in 1955. These are the first, because these schools are both considered the, quote, first of the land-grant colleges. Talk about a lame choice of a trophy name. Hey, we won the land-grant trophy. By the way, they haven't actually played that many times. The all-time series is 19-18. Penn State
used
leading.
to be independent.
Right. You forget when they actually got together and played one another.
They were the little one in the Big Ten. Remember they had to put the one in there?
They had to always put
Penn State was the 11th team.
They were the Notre Dame of the Big Ten as Notre Dame is to the ACC.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, we're kind of like you guys. We want to totally play you guys, though. Like, don't ask us to play all the time.
You know what's crazy?
That
Have you looked at the Big Ten standings?
Well, this is what I was going to say. This is what's great about it. It's a crap trophy with two craptastic teams playing one another. The winner of this one gets their first conference win of the season.
They're both 0-6.
They're 0-6 in conference play. The mighty Penn State Nittany Lions and the Michigan State Spartans, who, by the way, not that long ago, in 2015, 10 years ago, they were in the college football playoff. When it was 4 teams. When Kirk Cousins was leading that team to a Big Ten championship. Right?
Yeah.
So these two teams are 0-6. Penn State was playing to go to the national championship game last year, and they have not won a game in conference play. Well, they got darn close against Indiana. Boy, I hate Kurt Signetti's little smug attitude, but when they asked him before the game, Indiana's never won here at State College. What are your thoughts? This team's never played here. And then just walks off. I hate that guy, but man, he says some of this. How can you hate a guy who's at Indiana winning games? He makes it possible. He's a disagreeable dude. He looks like a weirdo.
If that guy can win in Indiana,
he looks like he doesn't enjoy life that much. I don't know what to
Penn
tell
State
you.
and Michigan State are 0-6. Like, he's doing something right, man.
Well, the world has turned upside down with the NIL stuff. So there you go. That's I'm just telling you that was on the line this weekend. Big Time Weekend Warriors brought to you by the good folks at Gillette Heating and Air. Right now, get seasonal maintenance done on your furnace. Great time to do it. $59 for them to check that thing out. Make sure it's running tip-top for this the cooling down of our Utah winters. GilletteHVAC.com to make an appointment. GilletteHVAC.com. Hey, snuck in a couple folks on this Weekend Warriors that look pretty darn good. This old guy is on pace to maybe be this year's MVP, and it ain't no Aaron Rodgers.
Matthew away from center. Play fakes. Rolls to his right. Stafford into daylight. Hits the sideline. Flips to the back. It's caught for a touchdown. Davis Allen open late. And that's career touchdown pass number 400 for Matthew Stafford.
How many does he need to beat Tom?
A lot.
Another like 260 or whatever it is?
He did something on Sunday that has never been done.
What? It's just what?
3 straight games.
Okay.
400-plus yards passing, no interceptions.
Holy cow.
That's never happened in league history.
Not bad to have the people he's throwing to. Hey, but you know what? There are 2-7-2 teams in the NFC West right now. Los Rams and my Seattle Seahawks.
Opening drive by the Seahawks, play fake, and Darnold's going to roll left. Has time. Going to let it fly. Got a man deep. Reaching up. Touchdown! Seahawks! And guess who? Jackson Smith and Jigba with the touchdown reception. Tightly covered, but dropping that baby in the bucket. Sam Darnold from 43 out. The Hawks up 6-0.
It's quickly 21-0 thanks to a scoop and score, and then later they get another scoop and score on defense.
Same 2 guys.
Same exact play, just on the reverse side of the field. They look the exact same.
One was in the first quarter, one was in the second quarter. It was like deja vu, but reverse.
How about this one for a local guy getting a nice couple touches? His team didn't win, but he had a nice day.
Algier in the backfield. Handoff to Algier left. Algier goes down, and he's over the goal line for the touchdown. Tyler Algier with his second rushing touchdown of the game, and that will give the Falcons the lead.
He's not bad.
No, he's not.
He's a big dude to try to bring down.
He is.
The Falcons
special.
are bad, though.
They can't figure themselves out.
They
There's a lot of talent.
They are so
on that team.
talented. It's
Drake
so
London
weird.
is elite. Bijan Robinson is elite.
I think Michael Penix Jr. is like turned quite a corner. I think he plays well.
They're just so inconsistent. They beat the Bills. Like, they really beat them good. Of course, the Dolphins beat the Bills this weekend, too. Speaking of inconsistency.
Boo.
But The Falcons feel like they're underachieving, and I actually think their coach is great. I like Raheem Morris. I can't figure out why the Falcons suck.
They can't either. They cannot either. How about this guy having himself a game, having himself a catch, having himself maybe the most looked at and re-looked at replay of the entire college football season? It happened this weekend in State College, Pennsylvania, and it happened to be the Indiana Hoosiers and Omar Cooper.
EJ and Omar both far side, Becker near side, Mendoza in the backfield, back to throw, pressure comes again, throws it to the end zone, and the catch is made. Is it a touchdown? Touchdown! Unbelievable! Omar Cooper with a grab, and he put his foot down. It's a score for Indiana.
I mean, what a catch. That referee deserves a little bit of an honorable mention on the on calling that thing a touchdown, because I wonder if in the replay they'd be able to definitively say for sure if it was called incomplete and they just go to the replay to see if they can get some help on that thing. It was a razor's edge on that call, and it was a phenomenal bit of athleticism by Omar Cooper. Insane. Hey, how about the Wake Forest Demon Deacons making this week's list of people who won the weekend here for us?
Pass to the back right corner, incomplete. Incomplete on 4th down and 3, and Wake turns over on downs with 13 seconds to go. Virginia cannot stop the clock, and Wake Forest has come to Charlottesville and pulled off the upset.
Hey, ACC, just checking in on you guys, seeing if anybody's ready to go to the college football playoff this year. I guess technically you got to get somebody in, but it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. Louisville lost.
Your best team lost to Wake Forest.
Virginia lost. Yeah, the highest ranked team. They might be. Where are they going to be? Oh my goodness, is the ACC going to be even going to have maybe just one, like a top 20 team? Is that going to be it?
They still have Georgia Tech with 1 loss.
And Georgia Tech was what, 18th in the first round of rankings, or 17th? And then they had a bye this week, so they didn't do anything. So they might be the highest ranked, and they'll be like 16th or 15th.
So Georgia Tech was 17th in the last college football playoff rankings. Miami was 18. I imagine Virginia and Louisville drop below them.
Yeah.
How are those teams moving up?
I don't know.
There's nowhere to move up.
But it is craptastic, the ACC. Congrats. Good job. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our full reactions from Week 11 of the college football season, not just the college football playoff winners and losers, but also what the chaos is going to be when these rankings, of course, come out tomorrow night. Don't you love how irrelevant the AP poll comes out and you go, don't care. Thank you for your effort. I'm so glad you stayed up late to watch those games, to throw your vote in. Don't care anymore, AP voters. You did sort of your job earlier this year, but we'll talk about what the rankings are going to look like and what we suppose might happen this next round of college football playoff rankings coming tomorrow night. Stay here with us. More to go, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.